Hello and welcome to Mr. Sleepy Science. Tonight, we're traveling inward into the enormous and mysterious universe inside your own head. We'll look at some of the most interesting and surprising things psychology has found, hidden truths about memory, how we see things, and the quiet patterns that guide our thoughts. Some discoveries will be soft, like how a familiar smell can pull you back to a moment from many years ago. Others will be surprising, like the way your brain decides things before you even know it. But each one will give us a glimpse into the hidden machinery of the mind, stranger, richer, and more wonderful than we usually think. Tonight, we'll move through a collection of amazing ideas and mental wonders. Little windows into places where time bends and shifts, where emotions change what we see, and where thoughts move between people without any words. You may find yourself falling towards sleep, or just letting these ideas pass gently through your mind. If you like these videos and want to come along for more nighttime journeys, you can like and subscribe down below, and feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments. But right now, just get comfortable. Let your breath slow down, your mind ease up, and let the wonder of your own mind wash softly over you. Let's start. People tell the truth more easily late at night. As the day goes on, the filters we use and the masks we wear can start to slip. Late at night, when tiredness lowers our guard and self-control, people might speak more openly and share thoughts they'd normally keep hidden during the day. This doesn't mean every late-night talk is pure honesty, but the drop in mental control can make being truthful feel easier. Psychologists also think the calm, private feeling of nighttime encourages openness, less noise, softer light, and the sense that the world has gone quiet. In these hours, conversations can wander into personal places, sometimes bringing people closer. It doesn't happen to everyone, but a lot of people recognize the feeling, words flowing more freely under the dark sky, as if the mind relaxes into its true rhythm and protected thoughts finally come out into the open. Doing many things at once makes your memory weaker. It might feel like you're getting more done, but switching between tasks can make it harder to remember them. The brain's attention works best when it's focused on one thing, and splitting it up forces memories to fight for space. This can leave you with memories that are unclear or missing completely. For example, checking your phone while a friend talks can make you forget important parts of what they said. Research shows that people who multitask a lot may even have trouble blocking out things that don't matter, which makes focusing even harder. Multitasking feels productive, but the mind actually holds onto life more fully when it can stay with one thing. In a world that keeps pulling us in different directions, choosing to do just one thing slowly can feel like a treat, and one your memory will appreciate. A touch from someone else can ease your pain. The warmth of a hand on your shoulder or someone holding your hand can do more than just comfort you. It can actually change how your brain feels pain. Physical touch turns on pathways that compete with pain signals, making them less strong. It also releases oxytocin, a chemical linked to connection and calming stress. In one study, couples holding hands during something painful not only said it hurt less, but their brain waves started to match each other. This means touch doesn't just help emotionally, it can create a shared body response that reduces suffering. When things are hard, a gentle touch can be both a shield and a steady point, reminding the body it isn't alone. Sometimes, the simplest actions hold the deepest power to heal. Smell can guide your choices without you knowing. Smells often skip conscious thinking, going straight to parts of the brain tied to emotion and memory. This direct path means scent can shape mood and behavior without us realizing. In studies, pleasant smells in stores have been shown to make people more likely to buy things, while the smell of cleaning products can make people tidy up more. These quiet effects happen because scent can awaken certain thoughts or feelings. Lavender might bring calm. Citrus might signal freshness and energy. While we usually think of choices as being logical, the truth is that invisible clues like smell can tip the balance. Noticing this influence can be helpful, letting us see when our decisions are being quietly shaped by the hidden language of scent. Believing you slept well can actually make you feel more rested. In an interesting twist of psychology, just thinking you've had good sleep can boost how you perform and feel the next day, even if your sleep wasn't great. In one study, people told they had better than average sleep did better on thinking tests, no matter how they actually slept. This effect, called placebo sleep, shows how belief can shape both mind and body. The brain uses belief as a guide, adjusting energy and focus based on how rested it thinks it is. Of course, real sleep can't be replaced for health, but this finding shows the mind's surprising power to influence how the body feels. It suggests that part of rest comes not just from hours in bed, but from the story we tell ourselves about that rest. Your mind can feel when someone is looking at you. A lot of people have had the strange feeling of being watched, only to turn around and see it's true. While science hasn't fully explained this, some research suggests that small clues, a shift in shadow, changes at the edge of your vision, or even faint sounds, might alert us without us knowing. The brain is finely tuned to notice social attention, since knowing when eyes were on us mattered a lot throughout human history. Evolutionary thinkers propose that this sharpness helped our ancestors avoid predators and handle complex social situations. Whether through hidden awareness or a deeper instinct, the feeling can be so strong that it makes us act before conscious thought catches up, a quiet nudge from our older selves. Body language can show feelings you haven't admitted to yourself yet. Posture, hand movements, and tiny facial shifts often reveal emotions we haven't fully noticed ourselves. For example, crossed arms might mean defensiveness, while small changes in tone can hint at worry. Psychologists say that these signals are sometimes visible to others before we see them in ourselves, giving an outside view of our inner state. Noticing your own body language can reveal hidden stress, attraction, or excitement. Similarly, reading others' silent signals can help build empathy and understanding. This wordless language runs alongside speech and sometimes speaks more honestly than words. In moments of reflection, Imagining how your body is holding itself can be like overhearing your mind's unspoken thoughts. Smells can bring back memories hidden for a lifetime. The human sense of smell is wired deep into the brain's memory systems. Unlike sight or sound, scent skips much of the brain's usual routes and connects straight to the limbic system, the center for emotion and long-term memory. That's why a faint whiff of perfume, rain on pavement, or a childhood meal cooking can feel like a time machine. These scent-triggered memories are often clear, detailed, and emotional, even if the moment they recall is decades old. Psychologists call this the Proust effect, named after the writer who famously wrote about tasting a Madeleine and being swept back to his childhood. Moments like these remind us that our minds aren't simple filing cabinets, they're living landscapes. And scents are like keys that can open locked doors, letting forgotten feelings step quietly back into the present. Lucid dreaming lets you shape the dream while you're in it. In lucid dreams, you realize you're dreaming, and with that awareness, you can sometimes control what happens. People who have lucid dreams report flying over mountains, breathing underwater, or changing the story of their dream as it unfolds. Psychologists think lucid dreams happen when parts of the brain tied to self-awareness turn on during sleep, while the dream state continues. For some people, these dreams happen naturally. Others train themselves using methods like reality checks and dream journals. Research even shows that skills practiced in lucid dreams can improve performance when awake. But beyond any practical use, lucid dreaming offers something deeper, a reminder that our minds can build entire worlds, rich with detail and emotion, that we can walk through as if they were real. And in those worlds, we are both the traveler and the builder. People remember unfinished tasks better than finished ones. Imagine working on a project, stepping away before it's done, and finding the task stuck in your mind. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. Our brains hold onto incomplete tasks more clearly than completed ones. This mental open loop evolved to help us remember what still needs to be done, but it can also keep us awake at night, replaying conversations or reminding us of work left undone. Studies suggest the effect happens because unfinished activities create a kind of mild tension in the mind, and finishing the task releases it. That's why making a to-do list can feel oddly calming. It signals to the brain that the task is accounted for, even if it's not done yet. In daily life, this effect can be both a motivator and a source of stress, depending on how we use it. Either way, it's a strong example of the mind's unfinished business. Gratitude can lower stress chemicals in your body. Feeling and expressing gratitude is more than just good manners. It can change your body's chemistry. Studies have found that people who regularly think about what they're thankful for show lower levels of cortisol, the hormone released during stress. Gratitude practices, like keeping a daily journal or reflecting on positive moments before bed, can also increase activity in brain areas tied to empathy and joy. This isn't just a mood shift, it's a physical response. that can strengthen the immune system, improve sleep, and even support heart health. Psychologists suggest that gratitude shifts focus away from what's missing and toward what's abundant, creating a sense of safety and connection. In this way, it helps the mind relax, letting the body follow. A grateful thought held quietly for a moment can ripple through the nervous system like a calming tide. People can be influenced by words they barely notice. Sometimes the mind reacts to messages it doesn't consciously see. In psychology, this is called subliminal priming, showing stimuli so briefly or subtly that they fall below awareness, yet still affect thoughts or behavior. In one study, flashing positive or negative words for just milliseconds before showing a neutral image changed how people rated that image's emotional tone. Advertisers and artists have long been fascinated by this, though its real-life influence is more subtle than the myths suggest. Still, it shows an important truth. Our conscious minds aren't the only gatekeepers of what we notice. Beneath awareness, the brain is constantly scanning, filtering, and reading signals. Most of these impressions never surface, but they can tilt our decisions, shape our opinions, and leave us with feelings we can't quite explain, whispers from the edge of awareness. Music can pull out memories hidden for decades. A song from your teenage years can instantly pull you back to a school hallway, a summer afternoon, or a person you haven't spoken to in years. Music has a special relationship with memory because it activates multiple parts of the brain at once: hearing areas, movement areas, and most importantly, the limbic system. The rhythm, melody, and lyrics weave together to form a rich context. And when that song plays again, the original emotions come back with it. For people with Alzheimer's, familiar music can sometimes awaken moments of clarity, letting them sing along to lyrics they otherwise couldn't recall. Psychologists think music works as a powerful memory cue, one that bypasses some of the barriers that time and memory loss create. It reminds us that even when memories feel lost, they can still be carried within us, waiting for the right note to set them free. Optimism can help recovery from illness. Hope and positive expectation aren't just comforting, they can protect the body. Studies show that optimistic people often recover faster from surgery, respond better to certain treatments, and have lower rates of some chronic illnesses. Optimism appears to reduce harmful stress responses, encourage healthier behaviors, and even strengthen the immune system. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or faking a smile through hardship. Rather, it's about expecting that difficulties can be overcome and that the future holds possibility. Psychologists suggest that optimism can help people stick with rehabilitation, follow medical advice more consistently, and maintain the mental strength needed for healing. While the body does its quiet work of repair, the mind's outlook can tilt the odds in our favor, turning hope into a kind of invisible medicine that moves through every heartbeat and breath. People remember gossip better than neutral information. Human beings evolved in small social groups where knowing who could be trusted could mean the difference between safety and danger. This may explain why our brains are tuned to remember gossip stories about others' behavior more easily than neutral facts. In experiments, people were more likely to recall details about untrustworthy actions than about physical descriptions or unrelated events. Gossip activates social reasoning networks in the brain, drawing attention and helping store information for future use. While gossip can be harmful, it can also serve a protective function, helping groups maintain norms and avoid risk. In a modern context, this tendency shows up in how rumors spread more quickly than ordinary news. Whether whispered around a fire thousands of years ago or passed along online today, gossip's staying power lies in the brain's deep interest in the behavior of others. Déjà vu may come from the brain misfiring in recognition systems. That eerie feeling that you've lived a moment before, déjà vu, is still not fully understood. One leading theory is that it happens when the brain's recognition system briefly misfires, creating a false sense of familiarity. This may occur when a new experience closely matches patterns from past memories, even if you can't recall the original moment. Neuroimaging studies suggest that the temporal lobe, especially areas involved in memory, plays a role. For most people, déjà vu is brief and harmless, but it offers a glimpse into how the brain stitches together present and past. In that brief flicker, reality feels doubled, the now overlaid with the ghost of a past that may never have been. It's a reminder that perception isn't a perfect record, but an interpretation. And sometimes, the mind's storyteller gets ahead of itself. People talk faster when they're nervous. When anxiety rises, so can the speed of our speech. This is partly driven by the body's fight or flight response, which increases heart rate and breathing. The brain, primed for quick action, pushes thoughts forward faster, and the mouth struggles to keep pace. Nervous speakers may also skip pauses, rush through sentences, or stumble over words as adrenaline sharpens their urgency to be understood. This effect can be subtle, a slight quickening of pace, or so strong that words blur together. In social situations, this fast talking can sometimes make others anxious too, as emotional states ripple through groups. Knowing this pattern can be helpful. Slowing speech deliberately can calm the body, and a calm body in turn can steady the mind. In this way, speech becomes not just a reflection of mood, but a tool for guiding it. Much of the human brain remains a mystery. For all our progress in neuroscience, huge parts of the brain remain only partly understood. We can map structures, trace electrical signals, and watch patterns of activity. Yet the deeper mystery of how consciousness arises, or why memories feel vivid, still escapes us. Some brain regions have no fully defined function, and the complex networks linking them are more intricate than any computer humans have built. Every new study reveals not only answers, but new questions, reminding us that we've explored only a tiny fraction of this living universe within our skulls. Like an ocean whose surface we've skimmed, but whose depths remain dark, the brain holds entire continents of understanding still to be found. And in the quiet moments between thoughts, we're reminded that the mind is not just a biological machine, but a mystery we inhabit every waking moment. Most of your thoughts are repeats from the day before. Research suggests that most of our daily thoughts are recycled from previous days, familiar concerns, routines, and reflections, replaying in slightly different forms. This mental repetition helps maintain a sense of stability, but it can also limit creativity and keep us stuck in old patterns. The brain favors efficiency, and reusing existing neural pathways is less demanding than forging new ones. However, when we intentionally seek out novel experiences, challenge assumptions, or change our surroundings, we can spark fresh patterns of thought. This is why travel, learning new skills, or even taking a different route to work can feel energizing. It jolts the mind out of autopilot and into awareness. Most of the time, our thoughts flow along well-worn trails, but every so often, we can step off the path and discover an entirely new landscape within ourselves. Yawning can be contagious, even across species. A single yawn can ripple through a room, passing from person to person with no words exchanged. This contagious effect isn't limited to humans. Chimpanzees, dogs, and even some birds have been observed catching yawns from others. Psychologists believe the phenomenon is linked to empathy and social bonding. We unconsciously mirror the behavior of those around us, reinforcing connection. In humans, the likelihood of catching a yawn increases with closeness. You're more likely to yawn after a friend than a stranger. The act itself remains partly mysterious. While yawning helps regulate brain temperature and promote alertness, its social spread seems to serve a different purpose, silently syncing the rhythms of a group. In a way, a shared yawn is a quiet reminder of our biological link to one another, a small, unspoken gesture that says, "We're in this moment together." Hypnosis can change how the brain processes pain. Under hypnosis, a person can sometimes feel less pain, or even none at all, during experiences that would normally cause discomfort. Brain scans show that hypnosis can alter activity in areas that interpret pain signals, changing not the sensation itself, but the way the brain perceives it. This has been used in medical settings for pain management, dental work, and even surgery, though it doesn't work equally for everyone. Psychologists describe hypnosis as a focused, highly suggestible state in which the mind can shift its responses. The effect isn't magic, it's the brain's own flexibility at work. By adjusting perception, the mind can rewrite the body's experience. This connection between attention and sensation hints at a profound truth. Pain is not just a physical event, but a complex dialogue between nerves, brain, and awareness. And sometimes awareness can change the entire conversation. Writing about your feelings can improve health. Putting emotions into words, whether in a journal or a private note, can have measurable effects on well-being. Studies have shown that expressive writing can lower blood pressure, strengthen immune function, and improve mood. Psychologists believe the process helps organize emotional experiences, turning vague feelings into structured thoughts the brain can work through. This reduces mental strain and frees up mental resources for other tasks. Writing doesn't require perfect grammar or style. Its power lies in honesty. By translating inner experiences into language, we give form to what was formless, and in doing so, reduce its hold over us. The page becomes a safe container for what might feel overwhelming in the mind. Over time, this practice can help untangle complex emotions, making them easier to understand and easier to carry. We recall feelings more easily than facts. The human mind is deeply emotional, and this shapes how we remember. Events tied to strong emotions, joy, fear, grief, or excitement, tend to linger in memory longer than neutral details. This emotional tagging helps the brain prioritize important experiences, but it also means we often remember how we felt more clearly than what actually happened. In eyewitness testimony, for example, the emotional charge of an event can influence recollections, sometimes distorting factual accuracy. On the positive side, remembering the emotions of meaningful moments can help reinforce values, relationships, and life lessons. Our memories are not perfect records. They're more like stories told from the heart's perspective. When we think back on the past, we often walk through a landscape of feelings, with facts scattered like stones along the path. Chewing gum can improve concentration. It might seem like a small, even mindless habit, but chewing gum has been linked to improvements in focus and alertness. The rhythmic motion appears to increase blood flow to the brain, while the act of chewing may also stimulate areas involved in attention and memory. Some studies show modest boosts in performance on tasks requiring sustained concentration when participants chew gum, especially peppermint-flavored varieties. The effect isn't dramatic, but it can provide a subtle lift in mental energy, perhaps why students, drivers, and even soldiers have used it during long, demanding periods. Psychologists also suggest that gum chewing can reduce stress by lowering cortisol levels, making it a double benefit for concentration. In the quiet moments when focus begins to drift, this simple action can act as a small anchor, bringing the mind gently back to the task at hand. The first and last things you learn stick the strongest. Our memories are influenced by what psychologists call the primacy and recency effects, the tendency to recall the first and last items in a sequence better than those in the middle. The first items benefit from more rehearsal and attention, while the last items remain fresh in short-term memory. This pattern appears in daily life. We often remember the opening and closing moments of a conversation, a lecture, or even a vacation more vividly than the middle portions. Understanding this can help in learning. Placing key information at the beginning or end of a study session increases the chance of it sticking. In a way, the mind frames experiences like stories, with the opening and ending scenes shining the brightest. The middle still matters, but it's the first impression and the final moment that often linger longest in the mind's quiet archives. Your brain can miss changes happening right in front of you. Change blindness is a striking quirk of perception. The brain can fail to notice even large alterations in a scene if they occur during a brief distraction or visual interruption. In experiments, people can look directly at an object, glance away for a moment, and miss that it has changed entirely when they look back. This happens because attention is selective. We can't process every detail, so the brain fills in gaps with assumptions based on prior knowledge. In daily life, change blindness can explain why we miss small rearrangements in a room or fail to notice a friend's new haircut. It's a reminder that perception is not a perfect camera. Instead, it's a patchwork of focused details and inferred continuity stitched together so smoothly. We rarely notice the missing pieces unless someone points them out. Smiling can trick your brain into feeling happier. Even if you're not feeling joyful, the simple act of smiling can subtly shift your mood. Psychologists call this the facial feedback hypothesis, the idea that facial expressions can influence emotional states. When you smile, the muscles in your face send signals to your brain, triggering the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. This can create a small lift in mood, even if nothing else changes. The effect works in reverse. Too frowning or scowling can reinforce feelings of tension or frustration. It's not a cure-all, but in moments of stress, a conscious smile can be a gentle nudge toward a calmer state. This is why some people practice soft smiling during meditation, a relaxed, almost imperceptible upturn of the lips. It's a reminder that the mind and body are deeply intertwined, and sometimes happiness can begin with a simple, deliberate expression. Your subconscious can influence who you find attractive. Attraction feels like a conscious choice, but many of its foundations are laid beneath awareness. Subtle cues, the symmetry of a face, the tone of a voice, even a person's scent, can trigger responses rooted in biology and experience. Evolutionary psychologists suggest that some preferences may be linked to health indicators, while others are shaped by cultural norms and personal history. The subconscious also weaves in associations. A certain laugh may remind you of someone kind. A hairstyle may echo a beloved figure from your past. These impressions often form before the conscious mind begins its analysis, creating a feeling of instant chemistry. It's a reminder that attraction is both ancient and personal, a dance between instincts honed over millennia and the unique pathways carved by our own lives, quietly guiding our eyes and hearts before we even realize they've chosen a direction. Flow states can make hours feel like minutes. A flow state is a mental space where focus is effortless, time feels elastic, and the outside world fades away. Artists, athletes, and scientists often describe losing themselves in their work, emerging hours later feeling energized rather than drained. Psychologists say flow occurs when the challenge of a task matches your skill level, enough difficulty to engage fully, but not so much as to overwhelm. In this state, the brain reduces activity in the prefrontal cortex, the region tied to self-consciousness, freeing attention to merge with the task. Flow is not just productivity at its peak. It's a deeply satisfying immersion where action and awareness become one. Many people find it during hobbies, creative projects, or even problem solving at work. In the quiet trance of flow, minutes dissolve into moments, and the mind moves as smoothly as a river finding its way to the sea. People can develop new senses with technology. Technology can extend human perception beyond its natural limits, effectively giving us new senses. Some researchers have created devices that translate non-visual data like magnetic fields or ultrasonic distances into tactile signals the brain can learn to interpret. Over time, users begin to sense these signals as naturally as sight or touch, integrating them into daily awareness. For example, a belt that vibrates when facing north can eventually give a person an intuitive sense of direction, much like migratory animals. These enhancements demonstrate the brain's neuroplasticity, its ability to adapt to new streams of information and weave them into perception. While these tools are still experimental, they point toward a future where human senses could expand to detect ultraviolet light, infrared heat, or even the chemical composition of the air, opening entire dimensions of experience we can only imagine now. Learning something new physically reshapes your brain. Each time you learn a new skill or concept, your brain's neural networks change. This process, called synaptic plasticity, strengthens existing connections and forms new ones, allowing information to be stored and retrieved more efficiently. In practical terms, this means that your brain is not static. It's an ever-changing structure shaped by your experiences. MRI studies show that learning activities, from playing an instrument to practicing a language, can even increase the size of certain brain regions over time. These physical changes are most rapid in childhood, but they continue throughout life, proving that it's never too late to learn. The act of learning is like walking through a field until a faint trail becomes a well-worn path. Every time you return, the path grows clearer, and the landscape of your mind expands, one connection at a time. Your mood can literally change what you see in the world. Emotions don't just color our thoughts, they can alter our visual perception. Studies have shown that people in a positive mood are more likely to notice subtle details and see a wider range of colors, while those feeling anxious may narrow their focus, scanning for threats and missing neutral or positive cues. This happens because mood influences the brain's attention systems, adjusting the way sensory information is filtered and interpreted. A joyful state can make a sunset seem more vivid, while fear can make a dimly lit street feel darker than it is. In this way, perception is not a purely objective process. It's shaped by the lens of the mind in each moment. Changing your mood can quite literally change your world, revealing that the line between the mind's inner state and the outer environment is far less fixed than we imagine. People are more likely to help when they are the only witness. In emergencies, the presence of other people can sometimes reduce the likelihood that anyone will step in a phenomenon known as the bystander effect. When alone, individuals feel a greater personal responsibility to act. When in a crowd, responsibility is diffused, and each person assumes someone else will help. This effect has been observed in countless experiments, from staged accidents to dropped objects on the street. The more people present, the lower the chance that any one person will intervene. However, awareness of the bystander effect can counteract it. Those who understand it are more likely to take action regardless of the crowd. It's a reminder that in moments where help is needed, looking to others can be a trap. Sometimes the person to act must simply be you, even if you are the only one to notice the need. The smell of stress can affect others' reactions. When a person is stressed, their body can release chemical compounds through sweat that carry subtle signals to those nearby. Research has found that smelling these stress odors, even without conscious awareness, can activate areas of the brain linked to empathy and fear, causing others to become more alert or anxious themselves. This suggests that stress can spread socially, not just through tone of voice or facial expression, but through scent. While this effect likely evolved to help groups detect and respond to danger, in modern life, it means that tension in a room can quietly ripple from one person to the next. Understanding this can be empowering. Just as stress can be contagious, so can calm. By managing our own state, we may influence the emotional climate around us in ways no one can quite explain, but everyone can feel. Nostalgia can make you feel warmer physically. Nostalgia isn't only a warm feeling in the heart, it can literally make you feel warmer in your body. Experiments have shown that recalling cherished memories can increase perceived temperature and even reduce the sensation of physical cold. Psychologists believe this link may be rooted in evolutionary needs. Social warmth and physical warmth are intertwined in the brain, both tied to feelings of safety and belonging. When we revisit happy moments from the past, our bodies respond as if we've stepped into a more comfortable environment. In winter months, people often experience more nostalgic thoughts, perhaps as a way of counteracting the chill, whether triggered by a familiar song, a photograph, or the smell of a favorite meal. Nostalgia can wrap the mind and body in a gentle blanket of remembered comfort. Fear can be transmitted through mere observation. You don't have to experience a threat firsthand to feel fear. Simply watching someone else react with fear can trigger your own. This is because the brain contains mirror systems that simulate others' emotions, allowing us to learn about dangers indirectly. In studies, people who observed someone else showing signs of fear toward a specific object later showed similar fear responses themselves, even without direct exposure. This mechanism likely evolved to help us avoid harm by learning from the experiences of others. In daily life, it means that fear can ripple through groups in seconds, influencing behavior before words are spoken. Just as calm can be contagious, so too can alarm, making emotional awareness a powerful tool in shaping the collective mood of those around us. Authority figures can make ordinary people obey extreme orders. In the 1960s, psychologist Stanley Milgram conducted experiments showing that ordinary people, under the direction of an authority figure, would deliver what they believed were painful electric shocks to others. The study revealed how social pressure and the presence of authority can override personal morals, leading people to act in ways they might never choose on their own. While controversial, the findings have been echoed in other contexts, from military settings to workplace hierarchies. The effect is rooted in our tendency to trust perceived experts and defer responsibility when following orders. This doesn't mean people are powerless. Awareness of the influence can strengthen resistance. It's a reminder that moral courage sometimes means stepping out of the shadow of authority, reclaiming personal choice, even when every voice around you says, "Just do as you're told." Peripheral vision detects motion faster than central vision. Your eyes are most detailed in the center, but they're fastest at detecting motion at the edges. Peripheral vision is attuned to movement, a survival trait from when noticing a sudden rustle could mean spotting a predator or prey. This sensitivity is tied to the rod cells in the outer retina, which are better at picking up light and motion in low contrast conditions. In modern life, this means you might notice something moving in the corner of your eye before you consciously look at it. It's part of the brain's early warning system, scanning constantly for change, ready to draw your focus where it's needed most. In the quiet margins of your sight, the past lingers, an ancient watchtower still keeping guard. Writing by hand can improve memory more than typing. Handwriting engages the brain differently from typing, involving fine motor skills, visual processing, and spatial awareness all at once. This richer sensory experience helps encode information more deeply, making it easier to recall later. Students who take handwritten notes often remember concepts better, even if they write less overall, because summarizing in real time requires active engagement with the material. Writing by hand also slows the pace, giving the mind more time to process ideas. While typing is fast and efficient, handwriting can act like a form of mindful learning, each stroke a physical imprint of thought, etched not just on paper, but into the neural patterns of memory. We judge faces in less than 1/10 of a second. The human brain forms impressions of faces almost instantly in less than 1/10 of a second. Research shows that even such brief exposure is enough for people to decide whether someone appears trustworthy, competent, or likable. These snap judgments come from ancient survival mechanisms, where quickly assessing friend or foe could mean life or death. The amygdala and other brain regions process facial cues at remarkable speed, well before conscious thought has time to intervene. While first impressions can be surprisingly consistent across observers, they aren't always accurate. Our minds often lean on learned stereotypes and personal experiences to fill in the gaps. This lightning-fast assessment is a reminder that part of us still operates on instincts formed long before cities, screens, and introductions, when a single glance could shape the course of survival. Seeing eyes in a room can make people more honest. Simply placing an image of eyes in a space, above a donation box, for example, can make people behave more generously and honestly. Psychologists believe this happens because the sensation of being watched triggers social accountability, even when the eyes are only printed on paper. This effect is linked to our evolutionary past, when reputation and group belonging were essential for survival. Being seen meant your actions mattered, and the brain still responds to these subtle cues today. Interestingly, the eyes don't need to be realistic. Even stylized designs can create the effect. It's a quiet example of how deep-seated social instincts continue to shape behavior in ways we rarely notice, turning a simple image into an invisible reminder someone might be watching. People often overestimate how much others notice them. The spotlight effect describes our tendency to believe others are paying more attention to us than they actually are. This can make small mistakes, tripping on a sidewalk, mispronouncing a word, feel far more noticeable than they are in reality. In truth, most people are too focused on their own thoughts to observe us closely. This bias stems from the way we experience life. We're the central figure in our own story, so we assume the same focus from others. Understanding the spotlight effect can be freeing, reducing social anxiety and self-consciousness. When we realize that most eyes are turned inward, our own small stumbles lose their weight, and we can move through the world with a lighter step, no longer imagining an audience where none exists. The placebo effect can work even when you know it's a placebo. It sounds impossible, but studies show that a placebo, an inactive treatment, can still have real effects even when the recipient knows it's not real medicine. In these cases, the explanation that the placebo might trigger the body's own healing mechanisms is often enough to create measurable changes, such as reduced pain or improved mood. Psychologists suggest that this works through expectation and conditioning. The ritual of treatment, combined with belief in the body's capacity to heal, activates pathways in the brain that influence physical states. This open-label placebo effect reveals just how intertwined mind and body are, and how belief can shape biology even in the absence of deception. It's a reminder that sometimes awareness itself can be a form of medicine. People often recall emotions better than details. Think back to a significant moment. You might remember the rush of joy, the weight of grief, or the sting of embarrassment, but not the exact sequence of events. This is because emotions are processed and stored in brain areas closely linked to memory, such as the amygdala, making them easier to retrieve than factual details. While this emotional focus can help guide future decisions, it can also blur the accuracy of our recollections. We may recall the feel of a day, but lose track of the specifics. This is why two people can share an experience, yet remember it differently. In the story of our lives, emotion is often the ink, and the details are the paper. Without the feeling, the memory fades, but with it, even vague outlines can remain vivid for years. Forgetting can be just as important as remembering. Forgetting may feel like a flaw, but it's an essential part of how memory works. The brain is constantly taking in vast amounts of information, and letting go of less useful details helps make room for what matters most. Psychologists believe that forgetting allows us to generalize from past experiences rather than getting lost in specifics. It also prevents outdated information from interfering with new learning. This adaptive forgetting can be thought of as pruning a tree, removing old branches so the healthy ones can grow. Far from being a sign of weakness, the ability to forget is one of the mind's ways of staying efficient and focused, ensuring that the memories we carry are the ones most relevant to our present and future. Your brain can adapt to see the world upside down. In classic experiments, people wore special glasses that inverted their vision, turning the world upside down. At first, the experience was disorienting, but within days, the brain adjusted. Objects felt right side up again, even though the image entering the eyes was reversed. This remarkable flexibility is an example of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself in response to new input. When the glasses were removed, vision felt flipped again until the brain readjusted. The finding shows that perception is not a fixed recording, but an active construction, constantly shaped by the brain's interpretation of sensory data. Even something as fundamental as up and down is, in part, a matter of adaptation. Group decisions can be riskier than individual ones. In certain situations, groups tend to make bolder, riskier choices than individuals would alone, a phenomenon called group polarization. This can happen because discussion often amplifies dominant opinions, and shared enthusiasm can downplay potential dangers. The effect is visible in settings from business meetings to political rallies. While collective decision-making can draw on diverse perspectives, it can also lead to a risky shift where the desire for unity and momentum outweighs caution. Being aware of this tendency allows groups to counterbalance it by encouraging dissenting voices and deliberate pauses. In the end, the group mind can be a powerful tool, but like any tool, it must be used with care. Optical illusions reveal how reality is rebuilt inside your mind. Optical illusions work because the brain doesn't just receive sensory input, it interprets it, filling in gaps and making predictions. When these predictions clash with the raw data, the result can be an image that appears to shift, move, or hide details that are in plain sight. Illusions reveal the shortcuts the brain uses to make sense of the world quickly. These mental shortcuts usually serve us well, but they remind us that what we see is a version of reality reconstructed inside our heads, not reality itself. Every perception is, in a sense, a personalized rendering, influenced by past experiences, expectations, and context. Laughter can rewire your brain for resilience. Laughter isn't just a reaction, it's a kind of mental exercise that can build resilience. When we laugh, the brain releases endorphins and reduces levels of stress hormones, creating a physiological state that makes it easier to cope with challenges. Shared laughter strengthens social bonds, providing a network of support that is crucial in difficult times. Over time, These moments of joy can act like repeated training sessions for the nervous system, teaching it to recover more quickly from stress. In this way, laughter becomes more than a fleeting pleasure. It's a resource stored within the body and mind, ready to be called upon when life demands courage. A sense of purpose can extend lifespan. Research shows that people who feel a strong sense of purpose, a clear reason to get up each morning, often live longer, healthier lives. Purpose provides motivation, which can encourage healthier habits, reduce stress, and strengthen social connections. It also seems to benefit the body directly, with studies linking purpose to lower levels of inflammatory markers and better cardiovascular health. This doesn't mean purpose has to be grand or world-changing. It can be as personal as caring for loved ones, pursuing a creative passion, or contributing to a community. Having something meaningful to work toward acts like a compass for the mind, guiding choices and sustaining resilience. In times of hardship, purpose can serve as a steady light on the horizon, a reason to keep moving forward, one step at a time, through the unfolding days. Your brain has a dedicated face recognition network. Deep within the temporal lobe lies the fusiform face area, a specialized region devoted to recognizing faces. This network is so finely tuned that it can identify familiar faces in less than a second, even in a crowd. Damage to this area can result in prosopagnosia, or face blindness, a condition where individuals can see facial features, but struggle to recognize even close friends or family. The importance of this system is rooted in our evolutionary history. Reading faces has been vital for detecting emotions, recognizing allies, and building social bonds. Remarkably, this network doesn't just process human faces. It can adapt to recognize other familiar patterns, like the markings of pets or the shape of a well-loved object. It's a testament to the brain's deep investment in connection, shaping our ability to recognize the people who matter most to us. Meditation can physically alter brain structures. Meditation is more than a mental exercise. Long-term practice can physically change the brain. MRI studies have found increased thickness in the prefrontal cortex, an area linked to decision-making and self-control, as well as changes in the hippocampus, which plays a role in memory and learning. Regular meditation can also reduce the size of the amygdala, the brain's center for fear and stress responses, suggesting a heightened capacity for calm. These structural changes reflect neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself in response to experience. Even short daily sessions can begin to alter neural patterns, enhancing attention, emotional regulation, and overall well-being. In a world that often feels rushed and noisy, meditation offers a way to reshape the mind from the inside out, building inner stillness into the very fabric of the brain. People can experience an out-of-body perspective in certain situations. During near-death experiences, deep meditation, or even through targeted brain stimulation, people report feeling as if they have left their bodies, observing themselves from above or at a distance. Neuroscientists have linked these experiences to disruptions in the brain's integration of sensory information, particularly in the temporal parietal junction. While often fleeting, these moments can feel vivid and profoundly real, leaving lasting impressions on those who experience them. Out-of-body perceptions can shift a person's sense of identity and deepen existential curiosity. Whether interpreted as spiritual events or neurological phenomena, they highlight the brain's remarkable role in creating the sense of self, a sense that can, under the right conditions, untether and drift beyond the physical boundaries of the form. Priming can change behavior without you noticing. Priming occurs when exposure to certain words, images, or ideas subtly influences later behavior. For example, reading words related to politeness can make people interrupt less often in a conversation, while seeing references to aging might slow their walking speed, all without conscious awareness. This happens because the brain uses recently activated concepts as shortcuts, shaping perception and response. While the effects of priming are often short-lived, they reveal how sensitive we are to environmental cues. In everyday life, priming can be positive, inspiring productivity, kindness, or creativity. But it also shows how easily our minds can be nudged without our realizing it. Every setting we enter quietly sets the stage for how we think and act. Kindness can boost your immune system. Acts of kindness don't just make others feel good, they can benefit your health as well. Helping others has been linked to lower blood pressure, reduced stress hormones, and improved immune function. Psychologists suggest this may happen because helping triggers a release of oxytocin and activates reward centers in the brain, creating what some call a helper's high. Studies show that people who volunteer regularly or engage in generous behavior tend to report better overall health and even live longer. Kindness creates a positive feedback loop. When we help others, we feel better, which encourages more kindness. It's as if the body rewards us for connection, recognizing that supporting each other strengthens the whole. In moments when life feels heavy, reaching out to help someone else can be surprisingly restorative, reminding us that we're not alone, and that even small gestures can ripple outward in ways we may never fully see. Time feels slower when you're in a new place. When traveling somewhere unfamiliar, days can feel long and rich with detail. But when you return home, the same stretch of time seems to have passed quickly. This happens because novelty demands more attention. The brain processes new sights, sounds, and experiences more thoroughly, creating denser memories. When we look back, those dense memories give the impression that more time has passed. In contrast, routine moments blur together, leaving fewer mental markers and making time feel like it's slipping by. This is why childhood, filled with new experiences, often feels endless in memory, while adult years can seem to accelerate. Seeking out new experiences, even small ones, can help slow the subjective passage of time, giving life a richer, more textured quality. The brain consumes about 20% of your body's energy. Despite making up only about 2% of body weight, the human brain uses roughly 20% of the body's total energy. This high demand is due to the constant activity required to maintain neural connections, process information, and regulate bodily functions. Even at rest, the brain continues working, managing memories, consolidating learning, and keeping vital systems running. This energy consumption explains why intense mental work can feel physically exhausting. The brain's hunger for fuel also means that what we eat can directly affect cognitive function. Nutritious food supports clearer thinking, steadier mood, and better focus. In a way, every meal is not just feeding the body, but nourishing the vast, living network that is the mind. Sleep helps your brain clean itself. During sleep, the brain activates a waste clearance system called the glymphatic system, which flushes out toxins that build up during waking hours. This process is most active during deep sleep, when cerebrospinal fluid flows through brain tissue, washing away metabolic byproducts, including proteins linked to Alzheimer's disease. This nightly housekeeping is one reason why chronic sleep deprivation can impair memory, mood, and cognitive function. Without adequate rest, the brain doesn't have time to clear the clutter, and over time, this can contribute to long-term health issues. Sleep isn't just downtime, it's essential maintenance, a quiet reset that allows the mind to wake refreshed, clear, and ready to meet the day. Your brain creates false memories more often than you think. Memory feels like a reliable recording, but it's actually a reconstruction, pieced together from fragments each time we recall it. This process makes memory vulnerable to distortion. Studies have shown that people can develop detailed memories of events that never happened simply through suggestion or repeated imagining. Even confident, vivid memories can be inaccurate. This doesn't mean memory is useless. It's just flexible, shaped by emotion, context, and later experiences. Understanding this can make us more humble about our recollections and more open to others' perspectives. In a courtroom or a conversation, what feels undeniably true may actually be a story the mind has gently rewritten over time. Loneliness can be as harmful as smoking. Chronic loneliness has been linked to a range of health problems, from weakened immune function to increased risk of heart disease and early death. Some studies suggest its impact on mortality is comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Loneliness isn't just an emotional burden, it triggers stress responses in the body that over time can damage physical health. This happens because humans are deeply social creatures, wired for connection. When that connection is missing, the body interprets it as a threat, staying in a prolonged state of alert. Recognizing loneliness as a serious health issue can help reduce its stigma and encourage people to seek connection, whether through friendships, community involvement, or professional support. Sometimes the bravest step is simply reaching out. You have more than 5 senses. The traditional 5 senses, sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell, are just the beginning. Humans also have proprioception, the sense of where your body is in space, which lets you touch your nose with your eyes closed. There's equilibrioception, the sense of balance, managed by the inner ear. Interoception allows you to sense internal states like hunger, thirst, and heartbeat. Pain and temperature each have their own dedicated pathways. These additional senses work quietly in the background, shaping how we move, react, and feel. They remind us that perception is far richer and more layered than we usually acknowledge. Every moment, the body is gathering countless streams of information, weaving them into the seamless experience we call awareness. Mirror neurons help you understand others' actions. Mirror neurons are brain cells that activate both when you perform an action and when you see someone else perform it. This internal mirroring is thought to play a key role in empathy, imitation, and learning. When you watch someone pick up a cup, your mirror neurons simulate the action in your own brain, helping you understand their intention. This system may also be involved in emotional contagion, feeling sadness when someone cries, or joy when they smile. While research is still unfolding, mirror neurons offer a glimpse into how deeply interconnected we are, how the boundaries between self and other blur at the neural level, allowing us to step, even briefly, into someone else's experience. The brain can rewire itself after injury. Neuroplasticity allows the brain to adapt and reorganize after damage, sometimes rerouting functions to healthy areas. Stroke survivors, for example, can regain speech or movement through rehabilitation that encourages new neural pathways to form. This recovery can take time and requires repetition, but the brain's ability to change offers hope even after serious injury. Neuroplasticity isn't limited to recovery. It's active throughout life, shaping how we learn, adapt, and grow. Every challenge faced, every skill practiced, leaves its mark on the living architecture of the mind. The brain is not fixed. It's a landscape constantly being reshaped by experience, resilience, and intention. Daydreaming activates the brain's default mode network. When your mind wanders, it's not idle, it's engaging the default mode network, a set of brain regions active during rest and introspection. This network is involved in self-reflection, imagining the future, and understanding others' perspectives. Far from being a waste of time, daydreaming can enhance creativity, problem solving, and emotional processing. Some of the best ideas arise not during focused work, but in the quiet drift of an unfocused mind. Allowing space for daydreams can be a form of mental nourishment, giving the brain permission to explore, connect distant ideas, and quietly prepare for what's ahead. In the stillness between tasks, the mind is often doing its most imaginative work. Gratitude journaling can rewire your brain for positivity. Writing down things you're grateful for each day can gradually shift the brain's baseline toward positivity. Over time, this practice strengthens neural pathways associated with appreciation and contentment, making it easier to notice the good in everyday life. Studies have shown that gratitude journaling can improve mood, reduce symptoms of depression, and even enhance sleep quality. The act of pausing to reflect on what's going well trains attention away from what's lacking and toward what's abundant. It's a small ritual, but one with lasting effects, like watering a garden until the ground itself becomes more fertile, ready to grow joy from the smallest seeds. Your perception of time changes with age. As we grow older, time often seems to speed up. This may be because each year represents a smaller fraction of our total life experience. When you're 10, a year is 10% of your life. At 50, it's only 2%. Additionally, as routines become more familiar, the brain processes them with less detail, creating fewer memory markers and making time feel like it's passing faster. Novelty slows subjective time, while repetition speeds it up. This is why breaking routines, learning new skills, or visiting unfamiliar places can make life feel fuller and longer. Time may be constant by the clock, but in the mind, it's elastic, stretching and shrinking based on attention, emotion, and the richness of our days. Silence can be more restorative than music. While music has many benefits, silence can be uniquely healing for the brain. Studies have shown that just 2 minutes of silence can lower blood pressure and heart rate more effectively than relaxing music. Silence allows the brain to rest from constant stimulation, giving it space to process thoughts, consolidate memories, and recover from sensory overload. In a world filled with noise, intentional silence can feel radical, a pause that creates room for clarity and calm. Whether during meditation, a quiet walk, or simply sitting still, silence offers the mind a chance to settle, like dust slowly drifting down through still water, revealing the clear depths beneath. Your sense of smell is linked to the oldest part of your brain. The olfactory system connects directly to the limbic system, one of the brain's most ancient structures, responsible for emotion and memory. This direct connection explains why smells can trigger instant emotional responses or vivid recollections. Unlike other senses, which pass through the thalamus before reaching conscious awareness, smell takes a shortcut, arriving fast and unfiltered. This ancient wiring suggests that scent has been vital for survival, detecting food, recognizing kin, sensing danger. Even now, a single scent can unlock feelings and memories that words cannot reach, offering a doorway into the past that feels immediate and profound, as if time itself has momentarily dissolved. Emotions are contagious in groups. Emotional contagion is the phenomenon where feelings spread from person to person, often without anyone realizing it. A cheerful colleague can lift the mood of a room, while someone anxious can make others uneasy. This happens through subtle cues, facial expressions, tone of voice, body language that are picked up and mirrored unconsciously. Mirror neurons and empathy systems in the brain amplify this effect, making groups synchronize emotionally. In social settings, this can be both a gift and a challenge. Being mindful of your own emotional state can help you contribute positively to the collective mood, while recognizing contagion in action can protect you from absorbing negativity that isn't yours to carry. Your gut and brain are in constant communication. The gut-brain axis is a two-way communication network linking the digestive system and the brain. The gut contains millions of neurons and produces many of the same neurotransmitters found in the brain, including serotonin, which regulates mood. This connection explains why gut health can influence mental health. Digestive issues can contribute to anxiety and depression, while stress can trigger stomach problems. The gut microbiome, the community of bacteria living in the digestive tract, also plays a role in this communication, influencing everything from immune function to emotional well-being. Taking care of the gut through diet, stress management, and rest isn't just about physical health, it's about supporting the mind as well. Awe can make time feel more expansive. Experiencing awe, whether from a vast landscape, beautiful music, or an act of kindness, can shift your perception of time, making it feel more abundant. Psychologists believe this happens because awe draws attention fully into the present moment, reducing the sense of urgency and expanding subjective time. People who experience awe regularly report greater life satisfaction and a stronger sense of connection to something larger than themselves. In our hurried lives, moments of awe can act as a reset, reminding us that there is more to existence than deadlines and to-do lists. Whether found in nature, art, or human connection, awe invites us to pause, breathe, and feel the vastness of the world and our place within it. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's journey through the mysteries of the mind. Each of these insights is a small window into the vast, intricate, and beautiful workings of your own awareness. As you drift toward sleep, let these ideas settle gently, like leaves coming to rest on still water. There's no need to hold onto them tightly. They'll be there when you need them. Thank you for spending this time with Mr. Sleepy Science. Until next time, rest well, dream deeply, and let your mind wander wherever it wishes to go. Good night.